the challenges moving forward with James out for 4 weeks at least?
Yeah, man. Obviously, James is a playmaker on offense. He's been making plays throughout the season. So the young guys are going to have to step up and replace his production. And there'll be a collective effort of guys, and we're excited. Obviously, not excited to see James go down, but I think watching those guys step up, like seeing how Amari stepped up into that role throughout the game, was able to make plays, first, second down, run the ball effectively when he got the ball in his hands. Keontae as well, get back in there, get some more reps. So guys will have to step up at that position. I'm excited how they approach the field today in practice, and they'll be ready to go for Sunday.
Through your decision making when it comes to running versus not running, like
Yeah.
what do you need to see to do it?
I think that's a lot goes into that, right? Like some plays are, you're designed where you're reading a certain guy, right, a certain element of the field, and so if that element gives you advantageous look to give the ball to the running back based off numbers, you're gonna give it to him. If he doesn't, then I'm going to take it and I'm going to run. So it just depends on kind of like the play, the looks. There's also some plays where, you get outside the pocket and then depends on how the defense is playing us, right? Like they had a couple spies on some third downs, and then guys did a great job of getting open downfield to convert. So a lot kind of goes into it based on the play, who my read is, like where my eyes are. And so I would say like a lot of times, like when you catch the ball, I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I don't know if the running back's going to take it, right? It just depends on the look the defense it gives, and then me reading, reacting, and playing ball from there.
If there's a spy on you, do you usually recognize it?
Yeah, you can recognize it. It just depends, right? Like sometimes, there's just a guy standing in the middle of the field staring at you, right? Like, like looking like Michael Myers in the middle of the field. That guy probably has you. But then sometimes, right, defensive coordinators are creative. They can involve defensive ends and different guys into those looks where their hands are on the ground, and at the snap they become that element underneath, whether it's spy you or cover underneath routes or stuff like that. So it just depends, right? It depends on the look, what the defense is kind of throwing at us to kind of combat what we're doing. But a lot of times you're able to still take advantage of those looks with spies.
Speaking of board films, how is it getting ready for number 99?
Yeah, he's a heck of a player, man. Like I've watched him from afar, from a long time in the league, being in the AFC. Haven't crossed paths with the Rams, so now obviously in the NFC, a little bit different, playing him twice a year. So yeah, I mean, he can wreck a game really fast. Crazy player. Like I remember watching videos of him while I was in Pittsburgh in the indoor training with knives and stuff. So. He's a dynamic player, man. Been a dynamic player in this league for a long time, and so as we've had to do, throughout the year when we face dynamic players, we're gonna have to obviously recognize that talent across from us, have a plan, and go out and execute it.
What's the plan to try to avoid turnovers? You did such a good job
Yeah.
at week one, and things happen and they come.
Of
And,
course. It's football, right? Like that's part of the game. Now, do we want that to be part of our game? No, not at all. And so it's just looking back at those situations, looking back of how I can be better, how we can be better as a team, That's what it comes down to. Like, you talk about the three that occurred throughout the game that ultimately made the difference in the game, right? Like I talked about it after the game, coming out, the ball in that area after defense makes a huge stop. I can't put the ball in harm's way. The next one being, trying to take a shot, trying to get aggressive down the field. Probably got to get the ball a little quicker, understanding the situation, especially being first down to start a two-possession game. And then the third one, man, was fourth down, like, trying to make a play. So those occur, kind of like a mini punt on that one. So that one's a little different than the other two. But situationally, man, like we got to be on our P's and Q's because looking back at the game, man, like we're in it. Till we're not, and the reason we're not was because of those turnovers. And so, as I said Sunday, right, it starts with me taking care of the football, putting our team in a position to win. And so, when I do that, we've seen it. We play really good football. We're in games, and we can win games as well.
It's not him. Saying it starts with him.
Well, he calls the play, but as the quarterback, man, like when the play comes in, understanding the situation, ultimately I got to make the best decision for the offense. So, that's how I look at it, man. Like in those situations, just how can I always be better? How can I keep the offense in a good situation. You know, some calls, sometimes the defense is going to get us, right? Their defensive coordinators get paid too. You know, their players get paid too. But when they do, it's never making a bad play worse. And so I'll be better in those situations.
Michael Wilson wasn't as involved after trending in the right direction for so many weeks.
Yeah.
How do you get back on track with Michael?
I don't, you know, we'll get back on track. There'll be plays for him and opportunities for him. I wish he had more opportunities on Sunday. That's something I literally texted him after the game. I was like, hey, man, like my first target to you can't be in the fourth quarter, just with, as you said, right, the production that he's had, the growth that he's had over the last couple weeks. And so he knows that, man, and he had a great attitude about it, which what I love about Mike, man. Anything for the team, his effort was still tremendous. He's all over the tape, you know, following the ball, blocking downfield. But as you said, you know, he's become a playmaker in the pass game, and my job as quarterback to get the ball in the playmaker's hands. So there will be opportunities, right, to get him the football, and when there are, we got to take advantage of those.
This offense has been among the league leaders in play action percentage. Without a two-time Pro Bowl running back, is that a tougher sell?
No, I still think we can run the ball well, man. Like we saw when Amari came in, stepped in, we were still able to run the ball effectively. Now we might have to be more creative, right? Because as we said, James being a two-time Pro Bowl running back, but you know, also one of the lead leaders in rushing, and really good with the ball in his hands. And so guys will have to step up to answer for that production. So it's a challenge on that room, and I'm excited to see them step up to that task. And, you know, it'll help us as well. You know, they start running the ball effectively. It'll help our pass game as well.
Been meaning to ask you, it's not out of line. Over the summer, there were congressional hearings on UFOs and aliens.
Yes.
Considering your background, do you believe in UFOs and aliens?
I do not believe in UFOs and aliens. It was funny, though. So when I got traded, this is a crazy story. I was sitting in my apartment, and so me and my friend Trey Smith, who's a really good offensive guard for the Kansas City Chiefs, he's a VFL. We started a little podcast, we talk ball, talk about stuff off the field. So he's a believer in UFOs and aliens. I'm not. So we were having a very tense debate for one of our podcast episodes, even to the point where we had Congressman Tim Burchett, because he's from Tennessee. He's a Vol fan. We had him on. He's giving us like the inside scoop, like the questions he's asking. And literally an hour into this podcast, that's when I got a call from Andrew Berry. I was getting traded, so I was like, hey, y'all, we're going to have to finish up this conversation a little bit later. So I still got to get some more information, but no, I'm not a believer, man. I'll save that discussion for another time, but I'm not a believer.
Back to the turnovers, just for a second.
What a segue right there.
You should probably just leave. But I'm going to make you answer this.
Okay, good, go ahead.
Because they happen in games, you're not thinking about them during a game, or if you have one, are you thinking, can't throw a pick, can't?
No, I mean, you can't play scared. Like, obviously, analytics, man, like before the game, everyone was talking about, you know, this many passes without an interception, all this stuff. But I don't play like that, man. I don't play scared. I understand the nature of football. I understand stuff happens out there on the field. You know, stuff happens really good, stuff happens really bad. As I say, each week is independent of your last performance, but also each play is the same thing. You know, no matter what happened on the last play, good or bad, you still got to be locked in for the next one.